Hello, fellow Americans. Voice of Reason coming at you from Jacksonville, Florida. And boy, have I got a doozy here. As the name of the video implies, as well as the post that it'll be contained within, there will be links in the info section of YouTube. Congress just passed a bill by a margin of over 300 votes to start putting RFID chips in disabled people, like pets, which I don't even agree with pets. And I can't help but think back to a post that I did a week or so ago titled, start doubling up on your prepping because the countdown to the economic collapse it's here. I quoted Max Slabo in that. And he said right after Trump's win, now that the Western world has turned to both Brexit and Trump, maybe it's the bankster class that's getting ready to begin the next phase. And it looks like he was dead on. Because since he said that, the global elites have taken several enormous steps. And I hope I don't need to tell you that, by beginning with disabled people, when was the last time government ever said, oh, we have enough? These things are always stepping stones to something much bigger. So what have we seen in the last 2 weeks that should really have alarm bells going off everywhere, but because of our woefully dishonest and corrupt media, most people don't know anything about most of the things I'm about to tell you. It was announced about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. You might have heard about some commotion over in India, but maybe not remember what you heard, or maybe just heard it in passing. Turns out the global elites are proceeding forward with, and by global elites, I'm referring to the banksters, the central bankers, some might say the Illuminati. You can call them anything you want to. I'm referring to the people that belong to those families, the 64 wealthiest people on the planet that own more than the rest of the whole planet put together. Those people. Call them whatever you want to. But they're moving forward with this plan for a cashless society. And you'd think they'd try it out in a small country, just for starters, right? Well, they didn't do that. They started with India, a country of 1.2 billion people, roughly 1/7 or 1/8 of the entire planet's population. And, of course it wasn't reported over here, in America with our media, but for the last couple of years, this has been kind of something that's been underway, because these UN-installed biometric systems are all over the country, even in, the most remote outpost villages. They've got these biometric systems that read different body parts, because there's not going to be a cash system anymore. Well, I guess they've known it was coming, but it hit them as a little bit of a surprise. I want to say this was like 2 weeks ago, when the Prime Minister came out and said that they were banning the two most popular forms of cash, which in their case was the 500 and the 1,000 rupee notes. And what's crazy here is India is not alone. There's plenty of other locations. One that I find surprising is Israel is right on their heels. They can't wait to get this cashless system going. And so what do these two have in common? The chipping of disabled people and the cashless system. Well, there's a very direct link, and you're going to see it real quick. So first of all, like I said, over 300 vote margin here. So this is obviously something that's got tremendous support. And all it's going to do is pave the way for every man, woman, and child on this planet to be required to be chipped. I've been following this issue. Today I'm going to sound like a conspiracy theorist. You say, Woody, that's crazy. That's crazy talk. I'm only responsible for what I say, not what you understand. And sorry if that sounds snooty, but this is a subject that I've been following for about 5 years now. Both the technology as well as those behind the technology. And etch what I'm about to say into the back of your mind. Etch it in stone, though, because sure as I'm sitting here, this is exactly how it's going to play out. The next step in this evolution of chipping people is going to be, there's going to be some type of a law passed where, and the social media companies have been pushing hard for this, and I'll see if I can't find an article that I did on this a while back. They're pushing very hard for government-issued ID cards to get on the internet. Specifically, well, to get on the internet, but they're pushing for it as some type of security measure. No. That's how it'll be sold, so that they can, prevent terrorists from congregating or, discussing things with one another online. That's how they're going to sell it. And no one's going to think anything of it, of needing an ID card or identification of some type to get onto the internet. Remember that. And from there, the rest is cake, getting the rest of the entire population chipped. Because what they're going to do is continue to deprive everybody of information. That's especially what our media is notorious for. Anybody that dares call out what's going on, they're going to be dealt with. Dissent will not be tolerated. They'll be re-educated or slandered and dragged through the mud. And the beauty of what they're going to do is they're going to set it up such that people are literally climbing over one another to get their mark of the beast, to get their chip. And the way they're going to do it is with those damn internet cards. Because good luck to any parent that's able to not get those cards and have their kids not be on the internet. Good luck with that. I'm not saying that no parents will do it, but once that transition takes place, all the government's got to do is come out and say, we're moving over from the cards to RFID implantable chips. And at that point, sorry. I'm sure there's strict parents out there, sure there's very Christian families out there, but every child in this country is going to demand their chip. And there's just not going to be there'll be a black market if the parents don't do it. It's going to be cake. And like I said, you can call me a conspiracy theorist today, or you can do some of the research. I'll provide a lot of links in the actual post. But what I'm going to share with you next is even crazier. You know who's behind, or largely behind, is known throughout the international community for her desire to have every man, woman, and child on the planet ingest an RFID chip. The company behind it is none other than Google. And the woman's name is Regina Dugan. And what, again, is particularly alarming to me is Regina Dugan isn't just the head of research and development at Google. She's the former director of DARPA, which is an agency within the U.S. Defense Department that's responsible for emerging technologies and top secret military equipment. That's what she was the director, and she is now the head of research and development at Google. And her claim to fame, she was actually a featured speaker at the Bilderberg Group, that group of global elites that don't meet, that meeting, back in 2015 to talk about her ingestible chips. And if only that was all that she was interested in, and I include a video also in the post. You'll be able to see these chips for yourself, but she doesn't stop there. She's even got mind-reading tattoos. Kid you not, folks. You heard me right. Not only does Google have mind-reading tattoos that they're working on that she wants mandatory, the FDA's already passed, or has already approved, ingestible RFID chips. I mean, this is so far in the works that most people just don't have a clue about. So like I said, I'm only responsible for what I say, not what you understand. But know this, that if this bill for these disabled folks gets passed in the Senate and signed by a president, it is the beginning of the end. I guarantee you that. So again, as you go through this article, you're going to see the first post. Excuse me, the first video will show you the ingestible chips, and the second one, and you'll see Ms. Dugan herself. The second one is the mind-reading tattoos. You can believe that. And keep in mind, who's responsible for overseeing this technology. It's the same tech companies that said that they weren't snooping on our phone calls or reading our texts. Yet you're going to have mind-reading freaking tattoos? Are you kidding me? But I mean, it's in the works, folks. The global elites are not messing around. It's just unfortunate how uninformed Americans really are of what's going on. The simple fact that we're coming upon a time where local police are going to be able to decide who gets chipped or not, so that their every move for the rest of their lives can be tracked, is going to be based on, their mental soundness. At what point does the town drunk have to be chipped? At what point does people with ADD have to be chipped? Or that forgetful uncle that never remembers your birthday. When the local police are starting to chip people based on mental soundness, we've got a real problem in this country. We have a real problem in this country when a bill like that gets through Congress with 300 votes to spare. So, I'm just going to close with two quotes. One is by Benjamin Franklin. And, he famously once said that those who surrender their freedom for security, they won't have, and nor should they have either. And that goes out largely to the 9/11 generation that we're in now. A lot of people were eager to hand over freedom for security. And he rightfully points out, you'll have neither, nor should you. You won't deserve it. The other one is from the book of Revelations regarding the mark of the beast. This comes from the modern English version. Try to keep everybody happy. He causes all, both small and great, both rich and poor, both free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their right forehead, so that no one may buy or sell, except he who has the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Cashless society, folks. RFID chips that house all your information. This is not sometime in the future. This is not Buck Rogers land. This is happening in India as we speak. And making its way through the U.S. Congress as I'm sitting here. Cost of freedom, price of liberty is eternal vigilance, folks. We got Trump in the door. We have a lot more work to do. And that's an understatement. With that, voice for reason out.